Have you ever been curious about astrology and what's all the fuss about and why are people so enamored with it? Welcome. That's the topic of today's video. I'm Kim Marie, and I love to bring topics that help us to align with our true nature, our true sense of self. And astrology is one of the tools that I use. Now, I want to preface this by saying I'm not an astrologer or an astronomer, but I have been fascinated by the stars ever since I was little, and I've followed the stars and also worked with numerous astrologers over the years in my life. In fact, I tend to have an astrology reading about every 2 years at least, because I find that having the star wisdom shared with me can be a really powerful and potent tool to help me know what my own soul's resolves are. Now, here's what I mean by that. When I tend to believe that our birth chart, which is unique to every single one of us, I mean, sure, there can be two babies born at exactly the same moment in probably different places on Earth, but potentially even the same place on Earth. And they would obviously have a very, very similar chart. The charts are going to be different because it's not just about, your sun sign or your moon sign. There's a whole lot going on with all of the other planets in the heavens and the way that they interact with each other, the way that they move through the constellations of the Zodiac. One of the things that I want to share, anybody who's done my Sacred Nights of Winter journal knows this because I refer to it in the journal each year, but I have a particular preference for what's called the Sidereal Zodiac. Now, I can't get into a whole lesson on astrology here, but what I want to share very briefly is that most of the horoscopes that we see in the newspaper and whatnot, they're based on what's called the tropical zodiac. And the tropical zodiac is something that astronomer Ptolemy created over 2,000 years ago, and basically stated that the vernal equinox, or the spring equinox, is at 0 degrees Aries, which was true at that time, okay? And over time, though, that has changed, except tropical astrology treats it as if it's the same. So you may be surprised to find that you're likely not the same sign you thought you were. When most people say, oh, I'm an Aries, I'm a Pisces, I'm a Virgo, it's because they've been told that their sun at the time of their birth is in that sign of the zodiac, that constellation of the zodiac. And what's actually happened, because of that, the rotation of the Earth on its axis also has the axis wobbling a bit. So what happens is it changes its orientation 1 degree every 72 years. So you can imagine over the course of over 2,000 years, it's changed quite a bit. In fact, it's changed almost 26 degrees by now. And what that means, if each constellation of the zodiac is 30 degrees, then if the point of the vernal equinox, the spring equinox, has shifted by 26 degrees, then we've completely shifted where the sun is on our birthday. So, for example, I always thought that I was a Virgo because I was told that the sun was in the constellation of Virgo at the time of my birth. However, because of that shift, that's the tropical zodiac version. If I were to look through a telescope on my birthday at the sun and see what stars are behind it, what constellation is behind it, so in other words, what constellation is the sun in on my birthday, I would find that it is actually in the constellation of Leo. So it was surprising to me to learn that I'm not actually a Virgo, I'm a Leo. Now, that doesn't mean the tropical zodiac doesn't have value. I actually follow a couple of different astrologers, and one of them is a tropical astrologer, uses the tropical zodiac, because what really matters is that astrology is a genuinely intuitive tool. A good astrologer is going to intuit what's going on regardless, and they're going to be able to communicate that to you. However, if you're dabbling in astrology and you want to know the truth, and I'm all about helping us find our truth, we want to know that we're reading the signs of the zodiac, the planets in the signs of the zodiac, in the actual constellations that they are in. We want to know that our sun is actually in that constellation, or the moon is actually in that constellation. And that is why I'm such an advocate of a truer form of astrology if we're going to use it as a tool, because if we're trying to find our truth, then we should be reading a chart based on the truth of astronomically correct sidereal astrology, okay? So when we think of our charts in astrology, we can think of the idea that we have freedom within a blueprint, okay? There's a blueprint that we're given at the time of our birth, where the planets and whatnot are aligned within the zodiac. And each of the planets and each of the constellations of the zodiac has an archetype, an energy, right? A signature that ultimately becomes part of our signature. And this is also part of why some of us have, you know, like Mars is a very warrior-like essence, right? Some of us might have a really strong capacity for that will force, and others of us might not. And it depends maybe on where Mars is or what Mars is doing in aspect. And again, I'm not going to get into a whole astrology lesson, but my point is, allow astrology to be a tool that helps you get to know yourself and explore the idea of honoring the truth by looking at the sidereal zodiac. Now, a quick hint, a Vedic astrologer, which is the ancient Indian astrology, they still use the sidereal zodiac. And there are a number of sidereal astrologers out there that you can find. If you're wondering or have a question about one, feel free to leave a comment and I'll reply and give you some references. But the idea is to use astrologers that actually are definitely at least intuitively gifted and really resonate, or certainly look at the sidereal zodiac, sidereal astrologers to help you look at the truth of where your planets are at the time of your birth and be able to have the genuine energies felt and understand what's going on for you. I hope that's helpful. I hope you find astrology to be a powerful tool to help you explore your own truth, cultivate deeper inner wisdom, and look at it regularly. I love to look at it on a regular basis because not only do I have my birth chart, which helps me to understand a bit of who I am, but there are also what they call aspects. In other words, you know, where the planets were at the time of my birth are different now at this very moment. And they are usually aspecting in some way, like squaring or opposing or conjuncting where they were at my birth. And that means there are certain energies at play for me in particular because of the energies I was born with or born under. The same will be true for you. And that's why it can be such a powerful tool. So if you're feeling a lot of uncertainty, you know, should I move or not move? Should I, you know, take this job or not? Now, astrology, I don't see it as a prophecy necessarily. It really is more about the energies. Like, okay, yeah, you know, in your destiny chart, your astrology chart, you may have this energy that indicates it's time for a move, or a move could be beneficial at this time. But it also doesn't, you know, it could be that you're not physically moving, you're just moving within yourself to shift how you think and how you see things. So there's nothing written in stone. It's going to show up differently for everyone, but it can be such a powerful tool to help make sense of different things that you've been feeling. I often find my astrology readings to be almost more of a validation and sense of, oh, okay, that's what's going on. That's the energy. That's what's happening right now, rather than being some kind of prophecy or literally telling me what to do. So I hope all of that's helpful. Again, ask any questions that you have in the comments and be sure to subscribe. I'm always offering a lot of unique tools and tips and ways for us to feel more empowered as women and tune into our inner wisdom. And astrology is just one of those many tools. So enjoy it. And until the next video, take care.